Hi guys, today we're talking about the element of value, and value is light to dark and all the shades in between. And that can be in grayscale, or it can also be in color. Color has value as well. So red is darker than pink, which is darker than light pink. And today we're gonna do a cupcake. I'm gonna do my cupcake like with, I'm gonna do it with like red, dark pink, light pink, and maybe a little bit of purple, I'm not sure. And then I'm gonna do a blue background, and I'm gonna do the wrapper in kind of like a goldish yellow, okay? So you can really do your cupcake in any colors that you want, as long as you have 3 different shades or tints of the same color. So a shade is like a darker version of a color on the color wheel, and a tint is a lighter color of a color on the color wheel. So like pink is actually a tint of red, okay? So anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by drawing a cupcake, and this is gonna be super fun. I want you to draw pretty big, and how I'm gonna have you start is I'm gonna have you start by drawing the bottom of the cupcake, and you're just gonna do a curved line, and I want it to take up about 1/3 of your page, and then kind of have the lines of, this is the cupcake liner, and it's going to come up a little bit towards the top of the cupcake, okay? And then along the top I'm going to have you do a jagged line, just like this. So your first part of your cupcake is going to come out like this. It's going to curve out from the wrapper, and then it's going to come around like this. So it's going to be a curved line, and then it's going to go out again and out again, and then you're just going to curve that line to that line. Do the same thing again, curve, and finally at the top it's just going to come up to a little point and come back down, okay? And this is kind of going to be like the icing on your cupcake. Now I'm going to kind of correct one of my lines that I don't like, just to make it a little bit more even. And you can do this too, but don't be too critical. Just, it'll look like a cupcake when you're done, I promise. So even if it's not perfectly rounded, not all cupcakes are. So then what we're going to do is we're going to do value, all right? And value is what's going to make this look like it's 3-dimensional, okay? So shading is another way of saying value. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with your, I'm going to use the red kind of down at the bottom, and it's going to come out from the cupcake liner. And let's go ahead and draw the lines on our cupcake liner. So then from each of these down points, I want you to draw another diagonal line coming down towards the bottom. This is going to become like the paper part that you unwrap before you eat your cupcake. So then I'm going to come in with my pink, and I'm going to layer over the red with my pink, and then I'm also going to start drawing, do your darkest, so red towards the wrapper, and then the darkest pink or the darkest tint that you have for your color. So if you're doing like blue violet, and the next color might be just like a darker or a lighter version of that blue violet. Okay, so then I'm going to go to my next lightest color of, I'm using pink, so I'm using a lighter color of pink. Now if you want to kind of come back in and add a little bit more red to the bottom part of that dark pink, you want to try to have a nice nice gradation from dark to light. And you want it to be smooth, so you want it to transition smoothly if at all possible. So then I'm going to do the light pink again, but this time I'm going to do I'm not going to draw as hard. I'm going to draw lighter. Especially as I get to that next line, I want to be very light. And then coming back in with my red along this line, a second curved line. This is my darkest color that I'm using. And then I'm coming in with my second darkest color, which is like a dark pink. And I'm going to bring my red back up into that dark pink a little bit, just to make it a little bit smoother transition. And then my lightest, which is actually just a difference in pressure. So I'm using the same pencil, same color. I'm just not drawing as darkly on this last layer. Okay, I'm gonna go back with my red. And I'm just gonna stop talking now and let you watch, because it's all gonna be the same from here on out. We're just gonna go dark along the bottom of your lines, and you're gonna blend from dark to light as you move up your cupcake, okay? Okay, when you get up to the top, the shadows are gonna be a little different, so you're gonna have them kind of come around the edge of your cupcake at the top, okay? So I'm doing this whole section in red. I'm adding just a slight layer of light red above. I'm going with my dark pink. And there you have your icing. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and add, I'm gonna have these come a little bit further around on the edge, just a little bit. Okay, and so now we're gonna do our, so what I want you to do on the wrapper is the shadow is gonna be on the left, so the darker color I want you to draw on the left side of each of the lines that are to the left of your center. Okay. And then when you're in the center, it's going to kind of come on both sides. So kind of just go over your pencil line. And then it's going to switch, the darker side is going to switch to the right, because the light is moving around your cupcake. Okay. And then I'm going to use my yellow. I'm going to leave a little bit on the edge. I'm going to leave a little bit on the edge white. Okay, and there you have it. There's your cupcake. Okay, so what I'm going to have you do is cut out your cupcake and then choose a color of paper to put it on. So I'm going to test out a few colors. There's like an orangey red. This one is blue. Let's try that. I like the blue. And then this one is purple. That one's really pretty too. So I think I'm gonna go with the purple or the violet. And what I want you to do is use a scrap piece of paper, turn it upside down, and put glue on the back. And then the last thing we're gonna do is add a shadow. So first things first, put glue down cut it out and glue it down. And you want to make sure you glue it so there's a little bit of room at the bottom. Okay. And now you're going to take a violet or a darker color of whatever your background paper is. Mine is violet, so I'm going to use like a darker color of the paper, and I'm just going to draw the shadow that the cupcake's sitting on. And you want to start by drawing it from a little past midway, and it's going to be like an oval that comes around like this. And then it'll be darkest by the bottom of the cupcake, and it'll kind of get gradually just slightly lighter as it goes away from the bottom of the cupcake, okay? Because the light is coming from this direction, and so it's darkest where it's blocked by the cupcake itself. And there you go. That's your finished cupcake. Have fun with this, you guys. This video was created by Sabrina Wingren at A Space to Create Art.